Hello and welcome to Channels Book Club. My name is Oluwatuyi Kasumo and it's great to be on this show where we discuss all things books. Today we are looking at the book industry in Nigeria. In case you never thought about it, there is a book industry in Nigeria. There are thousands and thousands of people who work every single day to produce and publish books, whether they're academic books or fiction titles, whatever books that you've seen out there. Some people work every single day to get those books in your hands. Well, our guest today is a man that we can rightly describe as a bookman. He spent almost his entire career working in the book industry, and he's here to shed some light on what is happening in that industry. And of course, he'll be talking about the Nigeria International Book Fair. You know, on this show, we're very passionate about Nigeria International Book Fair and also book fairs around the world. You can imagine what Nigeria will be like if we have very thriving book fairs across the country. Well, let's leave that to the expert. Let's get to meet with him and then enjoy that conversation.
Dare Oluwatuyi is the President, Booksellers Association of Nigeria, BAN, the current Managing Director of CSS Bookshops Limited, Lagos, Nigeria, which was founded in 1869, and the Chairman of CANSOL, Nigerian Book Fair Trust, NBFT. Oluwatuyi is an avid lover of books and has 3 decades of experience in the book industry with cognate practice in book selling and publishing. Oluwatuyi is also Chairman, Revival Task Force, Pan-African Booksellers Association, and Member, Management Committee, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Book Club African Chapter. He's an honorary trustee of the Network of Book Clubs and Reading Promoters in Nigeria. Oluwatuyi joins Channels Book Club to explore the current state of the Nigerian book industry and the challenges impeding the growth of the Nigerian International Book Fair.
Dare Oluwatuyi, welcome to Channels Book Club.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And I love this. I love this combo.
Thank you.
I think I should go for some consultancy after we're done.
I'd like to come in between the British and the Nigerian.
So I think we are somewhere. We are stuck in between, somewhere in there. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
You are. I mean, there's no other way to summarize you than to call you a book. You're a bookman to the core.
Thank you.
You are the MD of CSS Bookshop.
Yeah.
President, Booksellers Association of Nigeria.
Thank you.
And President of NIBTF.
Chairman Book Fair Trust.
Nigeria Book Fair
Trust.
Yeah. Yes. Wow. What's your story? I have a lot of questions for you. But before we dig into the main issues, how did you arrive here, where you are right now?
Well, I don't know. Seriously, I can't really explain. I don't know whether it's by accident. I found myself in the book industry immediately after graduation from the university. The first place I worked was a bookshop. Small place, but nice bookshop. I've never seen that kind of.
That was your first job?
My first job was a bookshop. And from there, I left. After about 1.5 years, I left. I went to the hospitality industry. I was there for about 8 months. I got bored. The next job I got was put back to the book industry. And since then, I've been in the book industry.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. You are the MD of CSS Bookshop, which is the oldest bookshop in Nigeria.
Yes.
But a lot of bookshops that I used to know when I was a kid, they're all gone. A lot of the older bookshops are all gone. You know.
Yeah. CSS Bookshop was founded in 1869.
1869?
1869.
Wow.
And that was by the colonial masters. And over the years, there has been so many changes. Initially, it was to distribute literature for the churches. Even building materials that were needed to build the churches then. But later they realized that they need to educate the people. And then schools started springing up. And then so distributing materials for school, even material to also build the schools. And so over the years, then until independence, when the British had to leave, and then the administration of the Bishop fell on the on Nigerians, and started to survive. But then the ownership was that of the Church of Nigerian Anglican Communion. Who I would personally commend the church for keeping this the bishop to today. Is the oldest bishop in Nigeria, no doubt, and
1869. That's a long time.
Probably the oldest in Africa, probably.
Wow.
So wherever I go outside Nigeria, I say they say, oh, no, they begin to see which one is the oldest in their country. So I will give kudos to Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion for keeping that business. They were not really after the profit. Otherwise, the business probably would have died. The Bishop House in Lagos was the tallest building when it was built in CMS area. In fact, CMS was named after the company. So when you say you are going to CMS, it's the Bishop they are referring to.
So what have you seen in terms of that culture that used to exist back then? I'm going to bookshops, buy books. The bookshop industry was thriving. You know, what's happening now?
It's quite a different story. When we are growing up, we look forward to end of the year, end of the school year, when our parents would take us to bookshops to pick the books that have been recommended by our teachers or schools. When we, at the close of the year, the academic session, our teachers will give us lists of books that we are going to use for the next academic session. And then we'll give this list to our parents. So at a convenient time during the holiday, they will take us to bookshop to pick those books. So it was an excursion for us. It's something that we look forward to. But today, parents are not even giving lists of books in most cases. They are only giving cost of the books, that the books are available in the schools. So the schools supply the children. So the children are confined to the books that they're recommended for them.
Yeah.
So they don't have one of going to bookshop to say, I want it, I want it, I want that. So reading culture, in those days we compete. How many chess have you read?
How many chess novels have you read? How many chess novels have you read?
Chess are different.
Yeah, and there are a lot of distractions now, are they not?
A lot of this, yeah, you have the
cable television now is a major problem.
Yes, then the phone is something else.
I mean, when I was young, you had just about 5 TV stations that will start in the evening.
4 o'clock.
4 p.m. in the evening.
5 p.m.
Yes.
And then close by
now,
10.
1 a.m., 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. If a kid picks a remote control, he has access
doesn't even
to
pick a remote control on his phone. He can watch anything.
Let's not even talk about the internet. So that has affected the book culture in the country, right?
Really?
Yeah. And you've also spoken several times about how the book chain, disruption or the breaking of the book chain has affected the book culture in Nigeria. That's something I would like you to maybe perhaps briefly shed a bit of light on.
Yeah, the book chain was something that has kept the industry. Unfortunately, got distorted about 20 years ago or more. The book chain really started with the author writes, the publisher publish, and when publisher, we say publishers, during the publication, you have the illustrator, you have the editor, you have that will proofread, that will edit, and then after that, you give it to the printer who prints, return back to the publishers, then the bookseller comes, pick the books from the publishers, warehouse, display on shelf, and then the end users comes and then buy. The opportunity we had when we were growing up, children of this day don't have it again. They're only limited to what the school recommended. They don't go to bookshops again. Their parents don't take them to bookshops again to see variety of books. You are at the Nigerian International Book Fair. You see children scrambling, see different assorted books, and they want to pay this, they want to pay that. My daddy, my mom, I want this, I want that. You know, that was the thing why I spoke to. But they don't have those opportunities again. So they are only structured and restricted to what the schools have identified for their term or session usage.
Yeah. Talking about Nigerian International Book Fair, congratulations on the last one.
Thank you very much.
And you are the new leader.
Thank you.
Congrats on this, the last one. But you know, I've met you in some other book fairs outside of the country before, and that's a constant worry for me when I compare book fairs overseas with what we have now. You know, and of course, I think about the challenges, you know, that we have locally. Since you began to coordinate the Nigerian International Book Fair, and considering this last one that's held now, what are your thoughts about the kind of progress we are making and the kinds of challenges that still keep us at the level at which we are right now?
Let me say that the major reason why we have Nigerian Book Fair Trust and Nigerian International Book Fair is actually to promote and encourage reading cultures within our country. Yes, we go to other countries, we attend book fair in other countries, and we see the way they are organized. In other countries, you see that governments are involved. You see that corporate organizations are involved. You see the way they are organized. You see that money is involved. You know, you go to London Book Fair, for instance, even go to the World Book Fair in India, for instance. Ours is just like a drop in the ocean. When you compare this, the other countries' book fairs, especially outside Africa. We've been trying. This year was the 22nd edition. I got involved in the Nigerian International Book Fair 4 years ago when I became the president of the Booksellers Association of Nigeria. By that, I automatically become a council member of Nigerian Book Fair Trust, so I got involved. But 2 years later, the council decided to have a standing committee to organize and run the book fair. Independent, not fully independent, but outside the council. Then I was made chairman of that committee. So the last 2 years, apart from this year, I organized and ran the book fair. So this year, the chairman of the Nigerian Book Fair Trust ended his term, and then there was election, and I was elected to be the current chairman. What I've noticed that, yes, we are growing, but we are crawling. Instead of walking and running,
they're crawling.
We are crawling because we don't have support. We don't have the needed support. All that we are doing has been within the council. Publishers, booksellers, authors, printers, Nigerian Book Foundation, a few, we just come together. You can, when you go to London Book Fair, this year, I pay £63 as entrance fee.
£63.
£63. What is that in Naira? If we are charged 500 Naira as gate fee to enter Nigerian International Book Fair, you won't see anybody. Or you see very few people. What are they doing there? They are charging gate fees again. £63. And that's because I register early. If you register late, you pay more than that. So, even when they have government support, people value education. People value books. We had a book fair, Nigerian International Book Fair, for 4 days. For 4 days. Lagos State government doesn't have a representative.
Not one.
Not one.
And the book fair was hosted in Lagos.
Was hosted in Lagos, was hosted in Oregon. This year was hosted in Oregon.
And Oregon is very close to
Alausa. We even did a book walk about 4 weeks earlier, and we walked to Alausa. We briefed them, we told them that we're going to have these things. But yet, we didn't. We have a review of a Commissioner of Education from Oyo State, from Oyo State, from Ogun State. Lagos State didn't send a representative.
At the end of the day, despite all those problems, if there is participation of government, if the government shows will and leadership, I think some of these things can improve. I think that's what the points you are trying to make.
Yes, and during President Goodluck Jonathan, there was this project, Bring Back the Book.
Bring back the book.
Bring back the book.
Yeah.
That's government showing interest. But how was it executed? If you are bringing back the book, publishers are not involved, booksellers are not involved, authors are not involved, which book can you bring it back? Yeah. And that's why it doesn't survive. You have to carry along those that are involved, which Nigerian Education Research Council, Development Council, and UBEC are trying to do now. You know? So when we have those people recognizing us as brain behind whatever they want to do, then we can, because we are the one that execute. You are the one that will carry it out.
Is there also not the factor of the role people like you, leaders in all these associations, Printers Association, Booksellers Association, Library Association, etc., is there not a role that the leadership of all those associations has to play in terms of getting government to look at this sector and be committed to this sector?
Yes, I agree with you. We have roles to play, and we have been trying to play that role. But you see, getting government attention is not that easy in our country. So if we have government participation, government interest, then they will, because we need to have laws, good laws to have to back some of these.
I've been to the Nigerian International Book Fair for many years, and it always saddens me when I don't see government representation, especially at the opening ceremony. So you have these booklets that are printed with the names of the special guests. Is it President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, or Vice President or something, Minister of Education and all that? They are governor of this, governor of that. And none of them shows up. Yeah. And in many cases, they don't even send representatives. In many cases. It's really sad. The Sharjah International Book Fair is always opened every year by the ruler of Sharjah.
That is how much.
And because he's the ruler of Sharjah, when he comes, the crowd, the press, the media, so it's like there's a global focus on that book fair because of his presence. Yes. So I agree with you. What you're saying is right, and I hope that we are going to improve on this in the future. I hope you are working on improving that.
We are working. I hope maybe this will also get to the government. Last week, we had somebody competing for the World Guinness Book of Record. I congratulated the lady, doing very well. For someone to stand for hours, no cooking, that's very, very good one. Do you know that Governor Sanwo-Olu showed up in that place? I'm not sure whether he was officially invited. If he had shown up at the book fair, do you know, just like you said, the press, media crew that will go with him, and then people will now know that, there's a book fair, next year they will be looking forward to it.
Well, I'm sure he probably wanted to attend yours, but at some other assignments. I will say no more. Thank you very much for joining us on Channels Book Club. It's a pleasure discussing with you. There's more to talk about, and hopefully in the future,
thank you very much.
We'll be able to talk.
I'm happy to be here.
Nice to have you here.
Thanks, sir.
Interesting, so much to discuss about books, the book industry, and of course, book fairs. Imagine if we had book fairs across the country, big and successful book fairs across the country. We're looking forward to that. Up next, there's a new book in town, and it's a very important book. A former managing director of the Nigerian Port Authority has written a book that is compelling and revealing. Let's get to meet with her and then enjoy as she reads from her book. Well, she actually had a reading event and we were part of that event. She needs very little introduction. You'll get to see after now. Enjoy this.
Hadiza Bala Usman has shared her experience as the Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA) between 2016 and 2021 in a book titled Stepping on Toes, My Odyssey at the Nigerian Ports Authority. In the book that seems destined to generate public debate, Bala Usman documented her friction with the former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, who recommended her exit from the agency over allegations that she failed to remit 165 billion naira opening surplus to the coffers of the federal government.
It became evident that the Honorable Amechi only used the information of wrong remittance to convince the President to accede to my suspension, knowing how he reacts to allegations of financial misappropriation. In his utterances, the minister further justified his decisions to probe the activities of the authority and alleged that he had done on other occasions that he knew nothing about the running of the Nigerian Ports Authority since 2016. This was one of the untruths about my service at the NPA.
Although she was suspended from the office on May the 7th, 2021, the former NPA boss, while speaking at her book reading and signing at Roving Heights bookstore in Lagos, explains why she chose to release the book now.
I can't be in every restaurant or every bar or every wedding or every party where they're discussing, oh, Hadiza was removed because 165 billion naira was missing. So I felt it was important to put it in this book to provide that clarity, to make people understand what actually happened.
Standing by her words and records, Hadiza Bala challenged those with alternative opinions to put them out in the public space.
People that would contradict what was said in the book, and I would encourage them to also write their book or state their contradiction clearly in the public space. What I know and the documents I referred to, the letters I have quoted and their correspondences, speak to what transpired. If anyone has an alternative opinion, he's free to also do same with reference documentation which contradict what I provided.
She further spoke on how she was able to use her office to bring more women into politics.
Joining politics doesn't mean you're that person that will contest for House of Reps or State Assembly. No, you could be part of the think tank. You would be part of value addition in terms of intellectual content that the party requires, in terms of building the manifesto, in terms of developing policy framework, policy formulations. So some of us, not every one of us would would contest. So don't shy away from politics when it's like, oh, it's tough, they're going to push me away. I don't know if I can contest, I don't have money to contest. Not every political space or political activity is about contesting, which is why I pull women that I see, encourage them to come. Some of the access that I have in the political space, I drag them along, come for this meeting, listen, sit, remain.
Participants of the book reading bared their minds on the author and also saluted her courage in telling her side of the story.
This woman is bold. It's very, very difficult, I think, in this society that we're in, for you to come out and write like a telltale of the challenges that you face in a position of public, in any public space, like the position you have faced in leadership of any public entity. And for her to say it so confidently and so boldly and so passionately about what she went through, I am more than impressed.
The Hadiza that I know is very fearless, and she's not doing anything different from what I have known her to do. So I think it is good for her career. It is good for other women who are looking up to her to be able to do such a thing.
One thing she has done with this book is to give us an insight into maritime operations. It's not just about, other behind-the-scenes actions, but this is a book that you can read and you have a direct understanding of what is going on in the port.
Stepping on Toes, My Odyssey at the Nigerian Ports Authority addresses not just the NPA story from Hadiza Bala Usman's perspective, but also a range of leadership and contemporary public service issues in Nigeria.
We will surely be reviewing that book on the show very soon. But for now, this is where we have to end this episode. As always, we'll be delighted to get your feedback through any of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. My name is Oluwatuyi Kasumu. Remember, one great book and change your life. Bye-bye.